whatever you might have, to Luke chapter 15. I'm going to verse 11 and 12, and then drop down to verse 25. I'm going to read a portion of a parable that Jesus shared regarding the relationship that he had with people that were not a part of Israel's favor. Okay, I don't want to get sidetracked on that, but I just want you to know it's part of a parable. And you probably have heard it a dozen times or more, but I want to take a different slant, and hopefully I'll be able to communicate this where you will be just encouraged to go to a higher level in God. Let's read verse 11. It says, "And he said, there was a certain man who had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the part of the property that falls to me. And he divided the estate between them." Would you say that part with me again? He divided the estate between them. Dropping down to verse 25, it says, "But his older son was in the field, and as he returned and came near the house, he heard music and dancing. And having called one of the servant boys to him, he began to ask, What does this mean? And the servant boy said to him, Your brother has come, and your father has killed that wheat-fatted calf, because he has received him back safe and well. But the elder brother was angry with deep-seated wrath, and resolved not to go in. Then his father came out and began to plead with him. But he answered his father, Look, these many years I've served you, and I've never disobeyed your command. Yet you never gave me so much as a little kid that I might revel and feast and be happy and be merry with my friends. But when this son of yours arrived, who has devoured your estate with immoral women, you have killed for him that wheat-fatted calf. And the father said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. But it was fitting to make merry and to revel and to feast and rejoice, for this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." I want to bring your attention to verse 29. This is the elder brother. He said, Look, all these many years I've served you. I've never disobeyed your command. And yet you never gave me as much as a little goat kid, that I might revel and feast and be happy and make merry with my friends. Verse 31. Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. I want to share with you for just a little while on the tragedy of living beneath your privilege. The tragedy of living beneath your privilege. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this awesome congregation, this awesome church. What a blessing they are for us. And keep your hand upon Pastor and his family as they decompress and renew themselves, return them homes to Morton safe and sound. Help me to communicate this, that you've birthed in my heart, that I might be able to share with them what you have emphasized to me. In Jesus' name, amen. You probably have never heard of Hetty Green. She is not someone that would be a role model that you would want your children to grow up to emulate. Actually, she was born in 1834 into a very, for that particular time, very wealthy family. She was, I'm not for sure at what age, but when her parents died, they left her, for that particular time, about $7.5 million. Now, this was about the time of the Civil War, and so you can imagine, the value how $7.5 million would be in today's money. It would be, quite lucrative. But Miss Hetty Green was a very smart businesswoman. She refused to spend any of the $7.5 million. Instead, she invested aggressively in railroads and in bonds and in real estate. And she was so effective in her and shrewd in her investments that she picked up the nickname, the Witch of Wall Street. She became more wealthy. In fact, so wealthy that she lent money to major institutions at an interest, including banks and railroads and even the city of New York. She bought when panic struck the nation, because the stock market bottomed out, and so she could pick up stock, pennies on the dollar, and then she would hold them until the stock returned back to normal, and she became even more wealthy. She became what they described as one of the richest women in American history. At her death in 1916, she was worth, at that time, well over $100 million. To give you an idea of what that would be worth today, it would be somewhere between $2.7 and $3 billion she had in her bank account. How many of you think you could last through the rest of the year on that kind of money? Yeah, I would pay off my bills as far as it would go. What was really peculiar about Miss Hetty Green was that she lived like she had nothing. She was known for wearing the same black dress every day. She refused to heat her home in the wintertime. Her diet mostly consisted of cheap pies that she found at the bakery, day-old apple pies, day-old mince pies, day-old plain old meat pies that did not sell, and so it was reduced price for a quick sale the next day. That is what she came, and that is what she made her meals off of. She avoided medical care because it cost money. And she would live in run-down apartments and boarding houses, often under aliases, often moving from state to state, Vermont and New York and other surrounding states, because she did not want to have or be caught with a permanent residency to be taxed. Her son was in a tragic accident and his leg was badly wounded. And so she loaded him up and she went to find free health care in New York City. And it was not to be found, so she went from place to place to place to place, trying to find somebody that would minister or doctor her son's leg free. And he went so long without care until gangrene set in, and they had to amputate his leg. Because she lived like a pauper, all of the great benefits of life that she could have had, she avoided. And when she died, all of her money did her no good because it went to her daughter and her son. What caught me about this particular story is that I don't know what happened to her thinking. She was not born in a poor family. It wasn't like that she grew up with lack and she was afraid to spend money. It was just that in her thinking, a little bit more money would make her happy, and a lot more money would make her even more happy, and that is the way that she lived. But think of all of the things that she could have enjoyed had she been willing to spend just a portion of her $3 billion. You know, you could take a trip and vacation with that kind of money, and you could enjoy a home out in the country when it got cold in New York City. You could go to Florida and enjoy the warmer weather if you had that kind of money. But she didn't. She lived far beneath her privilege. My wife and I enjoyed our vacation time. It was just awesome. We talk about it every so often since we got back. But one of the interesting things was we met a guy. We were where some of the 101st Airborne were stationed in Bastogne, defending Bastogne, and there we met a guy, made friends with him, and he wanted to take us sightseeing, which was a blessing in itself. But as he was taking us, he wanted us to meet some people, and he drove up to this run-down house. I mean, it had seen its better days 75 years ago. And when you walk in, there was trash and it looked like something that you would find in the poorest section of town. It was run down. It was not well kept. It wasn't painted. The furniture was old. I mean, I felt sorry for the person that lived there. And our new friend took us in to meet the owner, who was an elderly gentleman, about 80 plus, 84 years old, I'll say. And the couch looked as old as he was. So we sat down, and the owner of the house, I'm not for sure, I can't remember if he spoke German or if he spoke French, but it didn't matter because I don't speak either one. So our friend interpreted for us, and we had a good visit. And when we got back into the car with our friend who was showing us around, and in the conversation, he said, that gentleman, 84 years old, is a multi-millionaire. He doesn't know what he is worth. And I'm thinking, I mean, he could be living in a nicer home. He could pay somebody to take care of him. But no. He was content to live in poverty, even though he had more money than anyone else in the community. Which brings me to my text. You see, often in preaching, we focus on the prodigal son. You know, the dingbat that wanted his money and went off to a far country and partied and had a good old time and wasted all of his money. And sometimes we talk about the Father because it reflects our Heavenly Father, who's standing watching for the return of the prodigal. But it's rare that we talk about the elder son. If we do, it's about him getting a bad attitude. Yeah. I mean, he comes to the Father and says, I have never disobeyed you. I've worked my fingers to the bone, and all I got to show for it is bony fingers. You never even as much gave me a goat. But this heathen comes home, this reprobate, who embarrassed the family, who went just crazy out there in the world. He comes home. And you drag out the best calf that has been hand-fed, the fatted calf, and you throw a big party. You never threw a party for me. And then we come to the part where I want to draw your attention to what the Father said. Son, you were always with me. And here it is. Are you ready? All that I have is yours. Now, I want you to think about that. Here the elder brother is complaining bitterly. He's so mad he won't even go in and greet his brother. He's so mad he won't even go in to drink Dr. Pepper and eat cake. He's so mad that he could chew railroad spikes and spit out thumbtacks. But he missed what is the true tragedy of the story. He lived like a servant. He thought like a servant. He did as a servant, while his father wanted a relationship. All that I have is yours, which meant that the elder brother could have had, Brother Steve, the fatted calf at any time he wanted. But he never asked for it. He could have had anything that he wanted, but he never asked. He was too busy trying to be a servant that he forgot that he was a son, that he had privileges, that he had opportunities every day. He never had to ask for a kid. The kid was his already. Are you feeling what I'm saying? Now, I shared all of that about Hetty Green, about this millionaire in Belgium, about the elder brother. To get down, can I tell you, there is a even more tragic story that's being lived out every day, especially on Sunday. You see, how many of you understand that you are a child of the King of Kings? Are you with me? How many of you understand you're a child of God? And all that He has is yours. He has lavished on us all of the resources of heaven. He has made available all. Would you shout it with me? All. If you know this verse, quote it with me. If you have faith in me, you can ask what you will. Say that again. Ask what you will, and we come to church like the elder brother, and we sit there and we hope that we will get our miracle, that we hope God will show up, that we hope that God will give us deliverance, and we hope that things are going to work out, and we hope and we try to, if I do good, I'll get God's favor, and then He'll give me stuff. One of my favorite songs of the old Chuck Wagon Gang, it goes something like this. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done, where there shall be no setting sun. A golden deed that I must do is in the second verse. A gold, what are you singing about? Well, because I want God's favor, I've got to do good stuff. Because I got to earn His favor. I got to do stuff so that God will like me. I have to do stuff so that God, when I pray, He's going to listen to me. And so we go about and we work in the field and we work in the field and we do good stuff and we good deeds and we work our fingers to the bone and we come to church and we tell God our resume of what we've done all week, and we're hoping that God will smile on us. God doesn't need our good deeds. He's hungry for relationship. You see, we make religion. You know, we you know, if I do X, Y, Z, if I dress a certain way, if I avoid certain words, someone that my wife and I know was making his first airplane flight yesterday, and coming out of the airport, that location's always turbulent until they get up to a certain altitude. And he had never flown, Brother Dave, he'd never flown in a big jet, and it's and he couldn't say cuss words, Brother Steve. You know, because he got saved, God has touched him, he's saved, and so he can't say cuss words. So what do you know? Hashtag, exclamation point. You know, because I don't say bad words, God's going to smile on me more than not, and so I have to earn His favor. You see, I'm a servant, and servants try to please the master. Are you with me? I got to please the master. You see, a child doesn't have to do that. My little grandson, the youngest one, Judah, his mama put him up to it, I know, because he's 6, and he made a video to send to me, and it was criticizing my cooking. Now, I never fixed Judah spaghetti. I did make spaghetti for his mother when she was, about 16 or so. Sister Wiltshire's dad was very ill, and she had went back to Louisiana to help take care of her dad for a few days, and I was left in charge of Bethany. And she wanted spaghetti. Now, I can fix spaghetti. So, got the meat sauce, got the, everything ready, and boiling the noodles. And, I always heard if you could take a noodle and throw it against the wall, and if it sticks, it's ready to eat. And so I got a noodle, threw it, stuck to the wall. All right, let's eat. Bethany was not happy. She said it was still chewy. Well, I agreed with her privately, but I wouldn't tell her that. I said, that's the way adults eat them. Go ahead. My daughter has never forgot that, and through this day, she will not let me fix spaghetti. And now she's turned my 6-year-old grandson against me. So here he is. He's giving me a hard time about spaghetti. Because, and I just laughed, and because he's my grandson. It's about relationship. It's not about the spaghetti. Are you with me? You see, when you are a son or daughter, you don't worry about trying to please the master because he loves you anyway. They could be a scamp and you still love them. They could be a headache and you still love them. What is fascinating to me, you take a mass murderer. I mean, just the worst of the worst of the worst. And old mama will get up there in front of that judge. Oh, he was a good boy. Not because he was good, but because that's her son. And no matter what, that's your son. And the thing about it is that when you are a child of God, you can make mistakes and he still loves you. And you could do things wrong and make bad decisions and he still loves you. Not because you are a servant, but because you are a child of his. A good parent will always see to the needs of their children. Now, I was the discipline in our family. My wife spoiled Bethany rotten, but, I was the firm hand. Only girl, only child. Anything that she wanted, we tried to get. And I'm going to tell you, Bethany could be challenging to raise. I'm not going to say she was hard-headed or stubborn, but I know Georgia Mules that had her picture up in the barn as a poster child. But let me tell you one thing, as aggravating as she could be, don't you let anybody else say anything bad about her, or Mama Bear is going to come unglued. Because that's her baby. The greatest tragedy, Sister J. Lee, is that Christians come to the house of God and they still have a servant mindset. They're trying to earn God's favor. If I go every service, if I stay extra long, if I give extra money into the offering plate, if I do good deeds, God will love me even more. And what they're missing out on is the relationship that God really wants to have. How do you know that they're still struggling with the servant mindset? All I have to do is wait till a storm comes across and they tell me themselves. A servant will be fearful. A servant will worry and be anxious because they are unsure of the future. But a child lives in the privilege of the Father. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be alarmed. I guarantee you, little Noah doesn't stay up at 2 a.m. in the morning wondering if there's going to be enough milk tomorrow for breakfast. Little Noah doesn't worry about if there's going to be enough diapers in the morning for a changing. Little Noah doesn't worry about is there going to be enough warm clothes. Why? Because my mama and my daddy are going to make sure that whatever I need, I'm going to have. Throughout the Bible, we see it and we shout about it, but when it comes down to it, we still live beneath our privilege. Quote it with me if you've heard the verse. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He leadeth me. He leadeth. I don't have to worry about my future. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I don't have to worry about, I hope God doesn't go broke overnight. I hope God's got enough in the bank that it could help me pay my bills if I call on him. No, that's what a servant does. I've often wondered why do people live beneath their privilege? And the reason I determined was because they never have come into realization and embrace their relationship with God.
That's right.
They still see themselves unworthy. They still see themselves a sinner saved by grace. They still see themselves being held bondage in Egypt. They never realize that all that God has is yours and it's mine. And he said, ask and you, what? Somebody shout her, ask and you shall. You not might, not could, you shall receive. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and it shall be open. Seek and you shall find. But you see, we are like Hetty Green. Somebody wrote a song, Lord, I don't mean to bug you, but I got this problem I can't solve. And they're thinking, God, I know the economy's bad and heaven's resources are getting thin and he still owns the cattle of 1,000 hills and all the gold that's under the hill. And there's never a problem that you have that he's not already have an answer ready to give. The question is, why do we live like Hetty Green with all of the resources of heaven? Because we have allowed Satan to whisper into our ear, you're not worthy. You're not. You messed up yesterday. Somebody got your parking place, and before you knew it, you hit the horn. And you somebody pulled out in front of you, and you yelled at them, "You idiot!" And Satan said, "Yeah, you big fraud, you big hypocrite." And we feel, "Oh, Lord, We live beneath our privilege because sometimes we don't even know what is available to us. And if we do know, we haven't accepted it as fact yet. I quoted earlier in our communion service, by his stripes, somebody shout it, by his stripes. And yet we worry, yet we struggle with sickness. Satan has the unique ability to get people and manipulate people to say stuff to us that will upset us. Throughout the Bible, you will find that the greatest challenge of somebody believing God is not the world, but other religious people. And they, like the Pharisees did Jesus. Yeah, you got a devil. It's the power of Beelzebub that you're able to do all this. And the things that we find challenging often comes from church people trying to convince us of what we are not. We are not unworthy because the blood of Christ purifies us and makes us worthy. When you become a child of God, did you know that before you ever got saved, God knew every bad thing about you and you still were loved by Him? And He knew every bad thing that you would do. And He still saved you. The thing is, when you live beneath your privilege, you eat day-old bread instead of fresh bread. You eat day-old apple pie instead of it coming right out of the oven with vanilla ice cream and a Dr. Pepper. When Satan is trying to get you to live so far beneath your privilege, because if he can do that, you are no longer a threat to his kingdom. Because the moment you realize that you are a child of the King and his authority has been given unto you, you can pull down demonic strongholds. And you can walk into any situation and speak peace. That no matter what is going on, you walk in faith, never in fear. The Father said, I will never leave you or forsake you. Which means there is no circumstance that I can be in that God will abandon me. And if he will never abandon me, he will protect me from every attack of the enemy. The greatest tragedy is not Hetty Green, who had $3 billion that she could have bought anything, went anywhere. The greatest tragedy is a child of the King living like a pauper, never possessing the promises, never enjoying the blessings of the King of Kings. Would you stand with me? Lord, I was so far off my notes. How many of you